He's the eternal MMA middleweight champion that never lost his belt, and he's looking to reclaim it. We've got him here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your main event. Live from HBF Stadium Festival Hall. Melbourne Pavilion. Not even backstage, we're literally outside. Was that the best fight card in Australian MMA history? Call me crazy, but make sure you call me when I'm right.
Be good if the Aussie MMA Instagram page would give us a bit of glow up, because...
Welcome everybody to the Australian MMA podcast. I'm your host, Mitch Tinley, and today's guest is the former Eternal MMA middleweight champion that did not lose his title, Matt Myers. He is taking on Darcy Vendy, who is now the Eternal MMA middleweight champion, Eternal MMA 94 Southport Sharks in the Gold Coast, March 15th. You can see it at UFC Fight Pass. It's going to be an absolute banger. If you want to see some violence, there is... Look, the middleweight division is a pumping when it comes to contenders. And look, Matt Myers, if you've never seen him fight, go back and watch his fights with John Martin Fraser for the belt and prior to the belt. And he's just a violent man. He's look, it's really nice to have a chat with him. I've actually never chatted to him outside of the cage, so it's actually relatively calm outside. But yeah, like I said, he does bring immense violence, and Darcy Vendy is, man, his PR team has worked overtime because everyone is loving Darcy Vendy lately. He put on what Australian MMA deemed the performance of the year against John Martin Fraser, who at the time was the boogeyman and probably on the doorstep of the UFC. And he finished John Martin Fraser. Darcy Vendy is just absolutely in form and coming off the performance of his career. So he's looking to sort of cement himself as the quote-unquote real Eternal MMA middleweight champion because, like I said, Matt Myers did not lose the belt, which makes it incredibly intriguing as to who might come out victorious March 15th. But Matt Myers has spent, I think his last fight was December 2022 against John Martin Fraser. So he's been out for, over 2 years. He tore his ACL completely. He's had a huge road to recovery. So he's had to sort of just dig deep. So we find out about just how he got through that journey. He's originally a New Zealander, but fully represents Australia. He is a one-man band. He is trained out of Adrenaline in Victoria, and he just has never faltered. He's been there for over a decade. His reputation precedes him. Everyone talks highly of Matt Myers, and look, he's a top talent in this country, and after chatting to him, he's probably an even better bloke. So look, we're going to hear from our friends at Vex, but look, if you need any sort of gym insurance, event insurance, maybe even some fighters insurance, hit up combatsportsinsurance.au and you can find out more. Now let's hear from our friends at Vex, and on the other side, the man trying to reclaim his Eternal MMA middleweight championship, it's Matt Myers.
Vex MMA has officially teamed up with PRP Global, and their brand new website is now live. Head over to Vex MMA to check out their latest gear, perfect for fighters and fans alike. Whether you're stepping into the cage or just repping the lifestyle, Vex MMA has you covered.
Ladies and gentlemen, joining me on the show, a man that if he's as hard to get a hold of now as he is in the fight, he won't get touched. Matt Myers, welcome.
G'day, mate. Thank you for having me.
Fight week, bro. How's it been? You've been running around this morning, haven't you?
Oh, man, non-stop. Yeah, and, we're flying out tomorrow, so that all kind of puts a bit of a spin on things.
Is it weird flying into a cyclone-ravaged city?
Yeah, to be honest, I haven't really thought about that too much. I've focused more on Darcy Vendy.
Yeah, bring in your own storm. What goes into your sort of fight week? Just so people know, like, are you running around doing like medicals or anything like that? Like, what's your fight week look like?
Usually I'll get my medicals done before, so I like to get them done well ahead of time. But when I was a younger man, there'd definitely be medicals done on like Thursday. But fight week for me nowadays is just a little bit of training, cut weight, yeah, just boredom really. And then, this mad run around to, I was going to get sweet sweats. The only place you can buy, oh, sorry, is my cat.
Ah,
The only place you can buy sweet sweats in Melbourne's in the city, and I live in Frankston. So it
oh,
was which is a huge drive. It's massive. So I had to shoot all the way into the city.
jeez. Why? So what do you need those for?
Cut weight. Cut weight.
Ah, and
Yeah.
you don't have like a stockpile at home?
I did at some point, but then all the younger boys, I haven't been competing for a few years, so all the younger boys nicked it, and yeah, all the sweet sweats is empty.
Now, what does it feel like, man? I mean, like it's been what close to 3 years since you've been in the cage?
Yeah, yeah.
Jeez.
Two, what's that? Yeah, two and a bit. Two and a bit
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
How's it feel, man? We're nearly there.
Um, Honestly, I think it feels pretty normal. Like I know I haven't had that many pro fights, but like to me, if you do something six times, like you've done it six times. You know what I mean? So it's nothing out of the ordinary, but yeah, just I've had little reminders this camp, just to, how hard fighting is, how hard cutting weight is. But yeah, it doesn't really feel too different. It just feels like rewind 2.5 years ago. I'm just in the same place.
Well, I mean, I feel like you're going to remind a lot of people because some people must have forgotten just how devastating Matt Myers can be. In training camp, have you been a little like, oh, don't get injured. Oh, don't get it. Like, does that play in your head at all?
It did initially, and then my coach kind of told me to snap out of it. He said you're not made out of cotton wool. Like you've got to test it. And like I was pretty lucky. I got that done quite early. Like I got to test it and my injury really early with Jono Micallef, which
Yeah.
was like a stern test. It's like if my body can hold up against Jono, then I think I'll be all right.
Or do you just kick you in the leg real hard?
Kick me in the body, mate. Kick me in the body and kick me in the head. Just watch the Giuseppe fight. You know exactly how that spar went.
Yeah, that man, Jono Micallef, is doing tremendous things. He looks like heavy. Like everything he throws, like his fist looks 3 times the size of my fist. His leg looks 3 times. He looks like he's
Yeah,
made out of rocks, mate.
he feels like it too. He feels like it too. He's a huge welterweight, man. Like
Oh,
really, really big welterweight, and you hit it like dead on the head there. He hits hard, he kicks hard, everything's hard, and I think to note, like the guy's a hard worker too. So I think he's just that example of talent and hard work.
have you been training with the likes of him for a while now, or?
No, I think we had like two or three spars. Last time I sparred, Jono was coming up to, I think it was 3 weeks out from the Giuseppe fight.
Mm.
Um, and that was like a little bit more of a harder spar, but the spars that we had before were quite light. Like they weren't heavy, but
Mm.
just a good training partner.
Do you have to reach out to guys? Because obviously you're still at Adrenaline, I believe, but do you have to reach out to guys, or are you kind of content with who's in the gym?
Um, Look, we reach out to guys, but I think this camp has been a little bit easier because we've had people kind of coming to us. Like I think I might be wrong, but I think Sam Hayward might have messaged
Mm.
us first and reached out to us for rounds. And we also had big Vicio Siana. I'm going to
Mm.
mess up his last name, but he's a pro Muay Thai fighter.
Oh
He's
yeah.
had about 10 or 11 fights. Big, used to fight 105 kilos, and now he's 95. So we had him pretty much the whole camp coming in and giving us rounds. So usually we'll look, but this camp we've been pretty lucky. It's all been handed on a plate. It's all been there.
Why do you think that is? Do you think it's like your reputation or like?
I don't think my reputation is such. I think it's more the people at the gym, like the people I surround myself with. Big Viz, the Muay Thai fighter, he came through a training partner of mine, Kieran Daly. And I don't know, I think the Sam Haywood connect just like we just didn't have. I think he recognised both of us
Mm.
don't really have training partners or too many training partners.
Yeah. Well, have you ever done any like cross training in the sense of like have you gone up to AET at all or any of those sorts of gyms?
I haven't gone up. I went up to AT and sparred Jono there, but I haven't trained with them as such. I've honestly the main cross training I've done has been going up to ATT for
Yeah.
rounds over the years. Like we've done that a fair bit.
Up
I
to
think
Sydney.
three. Yeah, yeah, yep.
Oh.
Up to Sydney. We've got a decent relationship with them, and they're always quite welcoming. And then I've been up to Sydney before, actually before my last scheduled fight, train with the Smeaton Grange boys.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. How do you enjoy that? Is it good to test yourself against obviously the high talent that's there?
Oh man, of course. Like it's and a room full of workers. Like they're all none of the boys really muck around. Everyone's in there, and every session they're going to give it 110%. Like it is really like it was a really good step up, and I brought a lot of good stuff back to Adrenaline from that trip too. So it was
Just
good.
stole all their tricks.
Not trick. We honestly didn't really run through too much technique, but it was more just training styles, the mentality, the training style, the um, you know, that kind
Hmm.
of thing.
Is ATT as
I
tough
wasn't.
as they say? Like are the training sessions as hard as they are?
Fuck no. Yeah, man. Yeah, they're yeah, they're definitely about it, like for sure. They're but don't get it twisted. They're also really good dudes.
Yeah.
Um, their reputation, like I get it, but they're also really good dudes. I've had nothing but respect from Suman and Ashkan and Josh and Alex, so nothing but respect back.
Is there any gyms out there that you've like not gotten along with, or maybe like you cross train with before and you'd never do it again?
Um, not not it wasn't like there was no like we didn't get along. There was no like weirdness or beef. But yeah, there's definitely been gyms before where people have gone and accidents happen, people get injured, and we stop training there. Um, but not because of any beef or
Mm.
any weirdness.
How is that? Do you feel that you've got a good sort of reputation and relationships with everyone in Australian MMA, or are there some places you're like, I would not be welcome there?
Um, for I think personally, I think yeah, I've got a good reputation Australia wide. You know, I think Queensland on a Saturday night, you know what I mean? Yeah, Southport Sharks might be a little bit more hostile on a Saturday night, but I don't think I don't think there's anywhere that I'd really be like, nah, I don't want to go and train there.
Well, I mean, speaking of Southport on a Saturday night, Queensland, you'll be there. It
Yeah.
will probably be quite hostile. Are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, yeah, I like it, bro. I like the hostility. I like the fact that they want me to lose. I like yeah, I like it. Gets you
What's
G'd up.
What's your thoughts on Darcy Vendy? Obviously, he built up a bit of like an almost, and he even mentioned this. He had a bit of a almost a bad reputation for the last couple of years, and then obviously turned it a little bit around with how he addressed the John Martin Fraser fight and his amazing
Mm.
performance. But what were your thoughts on him prior and obviously after the John Martin Fraser fight?
No ifs, ands about it. Like I thought getting ready for him. previously. I think we were meant to fight in 2022. I knew that it was like you've got a lot to get ready for when you're getting ready for Darcy.
Mm.
It's not just, okay, this guy's a wrestler. It's not, okay, this guy's a striker. Okay, this is the game plan. It's pretty clear. You know what I mean? If the guy's a wrestler, clear game plan. Don't go down. If the guy's a striker, clear game plan. You know, take him down. But with Darcy and preparing for him back in 2022, I realised that there was quite a bit to prepare for. So he's been on my radar for a while. Honestly, thinking about him, I don't really think about him. I watch tape. He's a body that I've got to get through. I don't really think too much about him.
And I mean, he is pretty good everywhere, but is there any specific area of his game where you're like, man, I've really got to look out for that?
Left kick. He's got a pretty good left kick. Keep that right hand up. And yeah, that to me is like one of the big ones, is that left kick. He's pretty patient going to the body with it. He'll go to the body, go to the body, go to the body. And then like we saw with John in round 2 or 3, I think it was, he started going high. So just being wary of that left kick. Yeah, that's like the real big one.
Has your game plan sort of changed at all since the injuries?
Honestly, I'd say like comparing this camp with the Brogan Anderson camp, I've actually had like a more well-rounded camp. Do you know what I mean? The Brogan Anderson fight, I was going in with an injury, and I was like trying to just get through it and, you know, make it happen and get through those weeks, and had a very limited style. I was going to pretty much only strike that fight. I wasn't going to implement any of my own offensive wrestling. Whereas this camp, injury-free, I've had, you know, the whole 10 weeks or since November 3rd really to train everything, train wrestling, grappling, kickboxing, all of it. So yeah.
And I mean, you talk about the
I don't
injury.
even know if I answered your question there.
Yeah,
But
it's just sort of like, I mean, I guess we're still going to get the same violent Matt Myers. That's what I'm getting at.
yeah. I'm just going to go out there and have a crack, bro. That's all I really want to do.
Well, I mean, talk about the injury. First off, how did it happen? And then I guess the emotional journey of it all. Like, yeah, I think I heard in the interview you even thought about walking away completely. First off, what happened in the injury?
I tore my ACL. So I tore my ACL completely off. I did it in a really weird way too. Like a way that pretty much I haven't heard of anyone else ever doing. So it was from, you know, chatting to doctors and chatting to my physio and other people that have had the same injury. They've said that it was probably hanging on by a thread. It probably wasn't like strong at all. It was hanging on by a thread. And like, bro, I threw a leg kick. That's honestly how I did it.
Really?
I threw a leg kick. I threw a leg kick with my right leg, or I threw a leg kick southpaw with my left leg, and my left leg tore. So, which is really weird. It's like I'm standing southpaw, pivoting on my right leg.
Yeah.
Pivoting on my right leg, and my left leg goes, and it's like,
That's
and it wasn't even a hard leg kick. It was like a very, real freak injury. But you know, I think everything happens for a reason, and obviously I wasn't meant to fight Brogan Anderson. I was meant to fight now, and this is the way it's all meant to be.
Man, that's wild. Well, at least the only one that can hurt Matt Myers is Matt Myers. So that's
No, my mum too, bro. My mum give me a hiding too.
she's the one that did it. That's how the ACL got so bad. All them leg kicks from her. Well, I mean, and then it happens. Did they give you a sort of time frame of when you'd be back and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, my physio kind of said with that surgery, it's with a complete reconstruction. It's a year. It's 12-month recovery. So You can try and rush it. You can try and, like, you see it all the time with footy players. They do that, and in 8 months they get this new experimental surgery, and 8 months later they're back on the field. But 2 years later the knee goes again. So
Yeah.
it's about, for me, it's about longevity. I've had a lot of time off now, and I want a really active streak. I want to be active over the next year to 2 years, and really have a crack.
And so did you legitimately think about walking away?
Yeah, I did. It was like, I remember coming back and getting my scan, and I was like waiting on the news of the scan, because honestly it didn't hurt at all at that point. Like, it didn't hurt, so I was walking around on it. I couldn't run, I couldn't move around, I couldn't shadow box. As soon as I pivoted, it hurt, but walking around was fine. So I was like in this weird place, like, my knee doesn't hurt. But I'm gonna have to pull out of this fight if something's seriously wrong with it. And yeah, I was like frustrated, looking at the next year ahead of me, and I thought, fuck, if it's completely torn, I'm out, I'm done. And then it was completely torn, and I was like, fuck, I can't finish, I can't stop this. So yeah, like I alluded to in that interview, that um, fighting for me, like, has a draw. I believe that if I wasn't fighting this Saturday night, I'd be fighting this Saturday night. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be. It sounds really bad, but no matter what, like, I've always found myself in those predicaments, and I've always been really drawn to fighting. So regardless, I think I still would have ended up here. I'd still be here, bro.
Well, it's like they say, you either fight in the cage or you fight and then later end up in the cage. So
Yeah.
got two choices.
I'm going to use that one. That's a mad one, man.
That's sick, man. All right. Well, who helped you with sort of the journey? Obviously, a year's a long time. You obviously spent a lot of time not training. Like, did you have the emotional support around you to sort of get you through it?
Yeah. I'm pretty fortunate. I live with my beautiful fiance. She she did a lot in that year, and she was there for me throughout. But um, obviously, it goes without saying, the boys at the gym, the Adrenaline boys, Chris, Harry, Val, Dom, um, everyone at the gym really got around me, and helped as much as they could. I even had one of the members offer to pay for it. So
Wow.
a guy who just came up to me, no one around, and he was like, "Bro, if you need me to pay for it, I'll pay for it." And I was like, "Nah." Shout out to that guy; he's a legend. He knows who he is. He's the man.
Did you not take him up on it?
Nah, nah. I should have.
Like,
I should have.
did he have like a sharp suit on and look like you'd have to pay 25% interest, or was it?
Nah, no interest, bro. No interest.
That's cool. At any point, did your fiance have to be like, fuck, stop eating Doritos and fucking do something?
Nah. I'm like, even through, so I've had surgeries before. I've had big injuries before, and throughout them, I've literally every time, bro, I've gone fat as fuck. I've gone massive. Like, I usually walk around like 99 to 100 comfortably, but like a little bit with a little bit of something on me. I was like 110, 105, like just fatty, like so fat, man. So this injury, I really prioritized staying clean and eating really well throughout. I lost a lot of weight, and then that was kind of the plan. Like, I know I'm going to be sitting on my ass for 2 weeks, so don't eat like crap. Let all that muscle go. Let all this weight go. But at least you're not fat. Like, at least you're skinny. You're not skinny fat, and then build back from there.
And obviously happy with the journey and how you've done it, or were there any regrets along the way?
Nah, pretty happy with it, bro. Pretty happy. Like, I just went and saw my physio this morning at Alison, and I've been with her pretty much since the surgery, so it's been a year. We've worked really hard on getting back and like honestly, I think getting my leg back into a position that's better than it was. I had a lot of glaring weaknesses, which is probably where my ACL was so weak, and I had all these, like, I was strong in a lot of places, but really weak in a lot of areas that I needed to work on, and I've had that good time to work on those things.
Well, I mean, why did you get into mixed martial arts to begin with? I mean, bar just, you're going to be fighting regardless, but where did it all start?
It's actually a pretty cool story, bro. So I moved here when I was 17. I think I just turned 17, so it's 2013 or 2012-ish. I moved to Australia, and I was pretty lost. Like, I knew a few guys from New Zealand who had cousins over here and friends over here and mates that had moved over or siblings or whatever. So I hung out with them and wasn't really getting up to anything productive or good, or I was just being a dickhead really. And then my mum started working at a bulk billing clinic down the road from the old Adrenaline. And my head coach, Chris Brown, walked in one day. Mum was used to dealing with all these like junkies and impatient people, real rude and and then Chris walks in, he's got this massive cut over his eye. He was showing one of the young boys a technique and they accidentally headbutted him or something happened. And he sat there so like respectfully and was so patient and just like really had this impression on my mum. And my mum came home that day and was like, I think you need to be around men like this and like these kind of people. I think you should go and give it a go. And 12 years later, bro, I'm still here.
That's wild. That's lucky.
Yeah,
Lucky he's a good guy.
great dude, man. Great dude.
Oh, mate, that's really, really cool. So, in terms of Chris in general, can you talk about, 12 years with the same coach? That's quite a stint. Like, did you ever think like, oh, I need to go train somewhere else? Or was there ever any issues between you and Chris?
Um, no, I've never had any issues with Chris. But he honestly, like, and I think this is the mark of a good coach. He approached me probably like 3 years ago and was like, look, if you need to go somewhere else, I will fully support you going somewhere else. And for me, like the kind of person I am, I think you always go home with the person that got you there. I don't think I don't like the idea of leaving gyms. I don't like the idea of bouncing around. I don't judge anyone who does it, but for me personally, I like staying with the people that got me here. And it's like a family, bro. If you're somewhere for 12 years, they're not friends at that stage. They're family. So yeah, Adrenaline's family.
Well, does that then mean that does your mum watch you fight and what's her thoughts in her son getting punched in the face?
Oh, she hates it. She hates it.
She started it.
Yeah, she did. She did. She she hates it. But she hates it in the moment, but I 100% know that she is like really grateful for the man that I've turned out to be. I know that for sure, and I don't think that would have been possible without fighting. So she's grateful, but she'll still have a whinge about it.
And do you classify yourself as an Aussie or a New Zealander?
Aussie, bro.
Oh, yeah?
Aussie. Yeah, hard.
How come?
Hard. It's like I think I am obviously I'm a Kiwi. You can hear it, but I think it's like I've got family here. I've been like really, really welcomed in by the Australian people. unbelievably. Like, man, when I moved here, as soon as I came to the gym, people were taking me in. People were like, bro, come hang out with these people. You know what I mean? Like, it was, I have to give that loyalty back and represent those people.
Well, it's like Russell Crowe. We only accept the good ones. So you're
Yeah.
like as long as you are like killing it in your career, you are an Aussie. You go on a
Yeah.
3-fight losing streak, you are a New Zealander.
Yeah, it's conditional.
Oh, I love it, mate. Well, I mean, what can fans expect? March 15th, Eternal MMA 94. Matt Myers, 2.5 years in the making, reclaiming his belt. That is the mission. But what can fans expect?
At the least, you can expect violence, and depending on how Darcy turns up, you can expect a war. It's one of the two. It's either going to be violence or a war.
Love it. And mate, before it's all said and done, how does Matt Myers want to be remembered in mixed martial arts?
Oh man, you I always listen to your podcast and I hear you ask this question.
Oh,
And
thanks, bro.
every time I've listened to this podcast and heard that question, I'm like, fuck, how would I answer it? Just a dude, just like a fighter's fighter. That's how Matt Myers wants to be remembered. A fighter's fighter.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, you definitely are. Everyone knows you bring it, and at the very least, win, lose, or draw, it's always violent. So, man, I'm really looking forward to you. But not just to see you back as a fighter, to see you back, through all those injuries that you could have walked away from. And I don't think people know, and you probably can't even articulate how hard the journey has been. And as a community, we're proud and we're very happy that you battled your way back. So thank you for stepping in the cage on the weekend, and we hope you're loving it as much as we're loving watching you.
Legend, brother. Can't wait to put on a show. Can't
Awesome,
wait.
mate. Now go chuck a piss because I know you need to.
You're the man.
Bro.